Okay, so this video is explaining unwinding for those who have started care and are going through the ABC protocol. If you're a new patient, then this is designed for you to help explain what happens under the surface that you might not be aware of while your body's changing. Obviously, we want to improve your posture and reduce your pain, but this is how we go about doing that. So basically, what we need to understand about bodies is that over time, we accumulate injuries. So this can happen over a lifetime, starting from when you're a kid. So what happens is, when you hurt yourself, usually, or quite often what will happen is you can push bones out of place, and sometimes they can go in a direction that the body can't correct. In us humans, that's typically bones that have gone forwards. So if the bone goes forwards out of place, what can happen is it gets stuck and it causes problems. So let's say if I fall over and I push a bone here forwards, if that bone goes forwards, I'm going to end up coming forwards a little bit from that point. Now what my body does, it has to compensate for that. So it can do that like twisting the shoulders, or it can twist the hips. Something's going to have to move out of place to compensate. Now when it first happens, it's not a big deal. Our body's got plenty of room and plenty of ability to compensate. But what happens over time is we accumulate. So we hurt ourselves, we push bones out, and we compensate. We do it again, we compensate. We do it again, we compensate. And over time, this accumulates and we wind up and we get very tight. So what I like to do to explain this is simply use a towel. So I've got our towel here. So let's say I'm a kid and I'm nice and flexible, right? This is going to bend really easily. Now what happens, let's say I have a fall and I injure myself, and say right in the middle here, I push a bone out and that bone goes out and gets stuck. So if that happens and the body can't correct that, something has to compensate: hips, shoulders, neck, elbow, whatever. So what happens is your body has to wind up a little bit. Now, when you first do that, it's not a huge problem because you're still generally quite loose and flexible. But you're okay, and maybe you don't even know you did it. But let's say 2 months later you have another injury. Maybe you sleep all crooked and you push one maybe up here out of place. So the body's like, oh, we're still dealing with that old thing. Now we have to deal with another one on top. So what does it do? Well, it has to compensate somewhere else. So maybe your shoulder's twisted, now your hips will as well. So you wind up a bit more. And over time, what happens is you wind up, if you have a big injury, it's a whole bunch at once. It winds up it just accelerates the process. And you can see here, this is getting very tight and very stiff. And when someone's body's like this, do you think it's easy or hard to injure? It's easy, right? Because there's no give, there's no flexibility. If something's brittle, it breaks easily. Like you're going to break, but you don't have the same ability to absorb shock as you do when you're flexible. So the unwinding process, what we're trying to do, oh, by the way, if it winds up too much, it won't stay straight. It'll wind and it'll even buckle out of place. So this is quite often what happens if you have a twist in your pelvis, or one leg gets longer than the other, maybe one shoulder's higher, or you have a bend in your spine. Often it comes from a lot of winding up of your spine. So what we want to do is reverse this process. Now, we'll come along and we'll fix 3 spots in one day. So let's say we find 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, and we fix them. Your body doesn't need to compensate for those spots. So what it can do, it can let go. So it lets go and it starts unraveling a little bit. And then it gets stuck on the next level. We find another couple of spots, we do them, and your body keeps unwinding. And we want to unwind you in this fashion. So that's the nuts and bolts of the unwinding process. Now, most of the time, it happens under the surface and you don't know, right? Which is a good thing. But occasionally the unwinding can be painful. See, if we look at it closely, like if we took a photo of someone after every visit or every week going through care, and we made like a cartoon flip book, what we'd find is that their body literally unwinds in a circle like this. So most of the time, hopefully, you'll unwind in what we call a backwards direction. When you unwind backwards, you get more flexible, you have more energy, you have less pain, and you move better. All good things. But sometimes, to go further, our body has to unwind in what we call a forwards direction. So literally the body will come forwards for a while. Now this, unfortunately, is the stage of care where you don't feel good, and you have to know to expect it. Strangely enough, it very often feels like an old injury coming back on you. Not every time, but it can. So you can be anything from neck pain to lower back pain to your ankle. Sometimes it can even go into your periphery, like your wrists or your elbows or your knees as well. So it's something to get through. It's actually a good thing. It's strange, people come in and they're sore, and I'm happy because it tells me that the process is happening under the surface. So we want to watch out for that. When I was a kid, I twisted my knee playing basketball, and when I was going through my unwinding process, had to almost go through that same injury again. It was very weird. The knee even blew up just like when I first did it. It took several weeks, got treated, got through it, and it wasn't a big deal. But the funny thing was, after that, I could bend my knee better. I didn't even know there was anything wrong with it particularly, but I was definitely carrying some injury. And like I was saying, it doesn't have to be your knee, it can be absolutely anything. So that's the description of the unwinding process. I hope this helps you understand a bit more what's going on. Like when we're doing this, we obviously want to see your posture improve, your movement get better, your energy get better, and we want to see obviously your pain levels reduce, because that's what everyone comes in for generally. So I hope that helps. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.